Developing right now on Morning News Now, facing the fallout. This morning, President Trump accused of endangering the lives of 6 Democratic lawmakers, featured in a video urging members of the military to disobey what they called illegal orders. The president taking to Truth Social to demand the lawmakers' arrest and suggesting their, quote, seditious behavior be punishable by death.
This is perhaps the most reckless, irresponsible thing that he has done all Congress, and it's going to get a lot of us killed. We have kids.
Now, the White House pushing back as Democrats call for added security. We'll bring you the latest. Also this morning, shocking allegations against a former congressional aide charged with faking a violent, politically motivated attack on herself. What we're learning about what prosecutors are now calling an elaborate hoax. Plus, dangerous diet, the new research that shows some of your favorite foods could be threatening your overall health. And the turkey trot has begun. We are just 6 days away from Thanksgiving, with millions of Americans planning to travel for the holiday. But early winter storms could get in the way of your plans. We are going to track the forecast while you pack your bags. Next week, Thanksgiving.
It is coming. Family already arriving this weekend, but have those apps ready because it could be a travel headache for a lot of folks.
Everyone will then agree with me. It's Christmas time after that.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, I give you permission. Good to have you with us this Friday morning. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Thanks for starting off your day with us. We are going to begin this morning with President Trump sparking outrage after demanding several Democratic lawmakers be arrested for what he called seditious behavior and suggesting they could be executed.
President Trump made those posts after half a dozen members of Congress released a video. In it, the lawmakers urge U.S. service members and the intelligence community to disobey illegal orders and protect the Constitution.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
The lawmakers did not specify which orders they were talking about. In response, writing on social media, the president called the group, some of whom are veterans, traitors. He suggested that their actions could be, quote, punishable by death. NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba joins us now with more on this. So, Monica, Democratic Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries put out a statement calling the president's rhetoric disgusting and dangerous, saying political violence has no place in America. We know Democratic Congressman Al Green of Texas threatening to bring forward articles of impeachment against the president. How are Republican leaders in the White House just trying to frame the president's words here?
Well, we have seen this time and time again, Joe and Savannah, but of course, the president's words really matter. And sometimes he says things that are pretty incendiary, pretty inflammatory. And oftentimes Republicans will say, well, maybe I wouldn't have put it in quite those same words. That's at least what we heard from several people, Speaker Mike Johnson, for instance, and Majority Leader John Thune, saying that they wouldn't have necessarily framed it in this same manner, even if they express some of the concerns largely that are being issued with whatever these Democrats are calling for with this warning, with this directive to some military service members. But the White House was quick to clarify that this isn't a situation where the president of the United States is actually calling for members of Congress to be executed. But it's pretty remarkable that they even had to clarify it to that point. Here's how that exchange went in the briefing room yesterday. Listen.
Does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. They should be held accountable, and that's what the president wants to see.
The words that the president chose are not the ones that I would use, okay? Obviously, I don't think that this is these are crimes punishable by death or any of that.
Now, what's important here is that remember that military members swear an oath to the Constitution and not to the president. And what Democrats are trying to be really specific about is this idea of, quote, illegal orders. But the White House was saying that essentially this is some members of Congress telling military members to disobey any order. And Democrats are trying to be really clear about the specificity here of what they are saying in this video.
Yeah, Monica, let's talk more about that, because we don't know like super specifically what orders the Democrats in the videos were referring to, but what do we think compelled this?
I think there could be a couple of different things. Certainly, we know that there have been deployments of the National Guard, of other military resources to cities across the United States when it comes to immigration enforcement. So is it possible this could be related to that? Is it possible it could also be related to these continued strikes that we're seeing on boats in the Caribbean and in the Eastern Pacific for what the Trump administration labels these narco terrorists, but which certainly lawmakers have raised a ton of questions about the legality of ordering those strikes depending on who is on them and what they are actually carrying, given, again, renewed questions about the evidence for which the administration is using to base these continued strikes on. So those could be some possibilities. But the White House says that they are looking at this now from the Department of Justice angle to see whether just the Democrats bringing this message forward could result in any consequences for them. So that could be where this goes next, too, guys.
Monica, while we have you, we want to ask you about a legal setback for the Trump administration and its crackdown on crime in Washington, D.C., which started a few months ago. Yesterday, a federal judge ruled the deployment of National Guard troops in the Capitol actually violates federal law. The judge essentially wrote the president doesn't have the power to deploy the Guard for non-military crime deterrence missions without a request from city officials. What does this mean? Will these troops be sent home anytime soon? How's the White House reacting?
Not yet, because we know that this judge basically stayed their own order for a matter of time to allow for the administration to appeal. And the White House hasn't said if that's exactly what they're going to do, but they did respond in a statement basically dismissing this, saying that this is a lawsuit that tries to undermine the president's own authority over the District of Columbia and making these kinds of decisions. But we know that there's another case that is related to the Supreme Court that will look at the consideration of National Guard in Illinois, and perhaps they will wait for that decision before this goes forward. But for now, we know these National Guard troops are supposed to be in D.C. until February. Again, they will be here at least through the next couple of days and weeks until this winds its way through the courts.
All right. Savannah. Monica Alba, thank you so much.
Well, former Republican congressional staffer is facing up to a decade in prison this morning after federal prosecutors say she faked a violent and politically motivated attack on herself. Some of the images showing the lengths she allegedly went to as part of the hoax are disturbing. NBC News correspondent Aaron McLaughlin has the details.
These images show a then Republican congressional staffer lying face down in a New Jersey nature reserve, her hands zip-tied behind her back, her body lacerated with Trump and a profane word written across her stomach. Federal prosecutors allege 26-year-old Natalie Green did this to herself, part of an elaborate hoax meant to look like a politically motivated attack. According to the criminal complaint, at around 10:30 p.m. on July 23rd, an unnamed co-conspirator called 911. Telling dispatch that she and Green had been walking the trail when three guys just attacked us, talking politics and stuff, calling Green a racist. Police say they found Green crying loudly and yelling, "He has a gun, he has a gun." Investigators later found duct tape and black zip ties inside Green's Maserati. They also allege Green paid an artist $500 to cut her body just hours before the hoax attack. The court documents noting the cuts made to Green's skin at her request followed the exact same pattern as the lacerations observed when she was lying on the ground. Green is now charged with conspiracy to convey false information and hoaxes and with making false statements. In a statement, her lawyer writing, under the law, she is presumed innocent. The congressman she used to work for, Jeff Van Drew, said he hopes she's getting the care she needs.
I don't know any more than you all do, and we never would interfere with an investigation or a criminal process.
Aaron McLaughlin, NBC News.
Federal investigators released dramatic new photographs of that deadly UPS cargo plane crash in Louisville earlier this month. 14 people were killed. The picture suggests the left engine came off before it caught fire. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has the latest on the investigation.
The NTSB photos show the left engine and the pylon holding it to the UPS plane's wing coming off the plane as it began to take off. Then a massive fire as the engine exploded up and over the fuselage, dooming the 3 pilots on board and killing 11 people on the ground. Mothers, fathers, sons and daughters, husbands and wives.
This might be the toughest Thanksgiving that their families have ever been through.
In the plane's remains, the NTSB says investigators found fatigue fractures in the pylon structure holding the engine to the wing. there and there with green arrows, as the NTSB notes haunting similarities to a 1979 crash involving the previous model of the same plane that killed everyone on board.
This is all that was left of American Airlines Flight 191, as far as it got on its way to Los Angeles.
Investigators later determined the engine and pylon came off that plane after being damaged during maintenance. The FAA quickly ordered regular inspections of similar planes. The UPS plane that crashed in Louisville, built in 1994, went through routine maintenance in October, but wasn't yet due for a heavy, detailed pylon inspection.
The similarity of the engine and pylon coming off the wing is too obvious just to ignore. But the details of how that happened, well, that's something the NTSB is going to be challenged.
The MD-11 has been grounded. Both FedEx and UPS, though, rely on it for cross-country cargo runs. That is impacting their operations going into the holidays. Both have had to use smaller planes, lean on partner airlines, and ground transport options to help carry their packages. That is delaying some shipping already, but they both hope to be operating normally as to get closer into Christmas. Back to you.
All right, Tom, thank you.
Well, AAA estimates a record 82 million Americans are expected to travel more than 50 miles during Thanksgiving week. Well, now with the nation's airports ramping back up to full capacity after that government shutdown, travelers now have another concern on the mind. That's severe weather.
Storms are sweeping across the country. That includes a powerful system in Texas, dumping heavy rounds of rain. The bad weather threatening to create chaos for folks who are getting ready for the busiest travel week of the year.
For more, let's bring in NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa. She's at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. She joins us with the latest. Maggie, good morning. I mean, how's it going so far this morning? Really just the early jump on Thanksgiving, right? But what you see in there? Any delays? Is it crowded?
For sure, guys, it is crowded, I can tell you. Of course, we're barely off and running, but things definitely here. The lines are long. The crowds are larger than what we normally see, but they seem to be moving along relatively well. I just checked FlightAware's misery map. Delays and cancellations relatively low here in Chicago. No surprise, given the video that you just showed. The biggest impact right now at the airport in Dallas, where those torrential rains and flash floods really hit overnight. So we'll see how that kind of plays out through the rest of the day. But so far, nationwide, things relatively well, just kind of given that sore spot there.
I remember when people used to leave for Thanksgiving on Wednesday. Now it's like Friday, 5 days before, and the airports are packed. It's unreal. So, I mean, here's the big thing, Maggie. They're dealing with severe storms sweeping across the country. How much should travelers worry about the potential for weather delays in the coming days?
You know, they should definitely take it into account. I don't know if we would go so far as to say worry about it. Officials have stressed that they, meaning airport officials and all four major airlines, United, American, Southwest, Delta, all say they're ready to handle the holiday surge. And of course, when they say that, that means they're taking into account this potential for severe weather, right? That can always throw a major wrench in things. We've seen it before, but they've told us they're back up to normal staffing levels. Given everything that's happened over the last few weeks, they said it wouldn't be a bad idea if people wanted to get to the airports even earlier than they normally do, like 3 hours early instead of 2. But really, the airlines and airports have said they're ready. They had seen the forecast. They know things like this can happen. Still, they're just asking people to take a little bit of extra caution. Worry, though, maybe a step too far given what we've heard. But of course, we'll see.
What's the best advice, Maggie, if you're flying over the next few days?
Getting there extra early is kind of the key one. That's different from years past that we've heard. Also, of course, all the old standbys, downloading your airline's app, signing up for the alerts. A couple of industry analysts that we spoke to, so not anyone who has to worry about representing the airlines or the airports well, they said, you know, it wouldn't hurt to keep a carry-on with basically an extra change of clothes specific to where your connection is. So if like you're flying to Hawaii or something, but you're connecting through Chicago and you get stuck, you don't want to be in shorts and a Hawaiian shirt basically overnight. So just keep that in mind if you have that connection, and maybe just plan accordingly. Play it extra safe, they said.
That is great advice.
Know the layover weather and hope you get to Hawaii. While we have you, while you're at an airport, we do want to ask you about a holdover from the shutdown. The Trump administration issuing bonuses to air traffic controllers who maintained perfect attendance during that 40-day shutdown. How much money are we talking about here, and when could these air traffic controllers get these bonuses?
Guys, we are talking about $10,000 bonuses for nearly 800 air traffic controllers and technicians. Amazing. The Trump administration announcing this, I know, yesterday, saying that these men and women, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy calling them patriotic men and women who, in his words, never missed a beat and kept the flying public safe. He said they should see an automated alert about this bonus next week, Thanksgiving week, and they should have the money in their accounts by December 9th. This had been talked about by the administration. It had been floated by the president, but it wasn't like kind of a real tangible promise until yesterday. So, yeah, of course, a major headline this morning.
I love that. Them and our TSA workers who kept us flying during that. Amazing. Maggie, thank you so much.
We thanked them during it, but we didn't give them $10,000. All right. So as we were talking about with Maggie, we're wrapping up a week of soggy weather, drenching millions of people, and there is more to come.
That means it's time for Angie Lastman to join us with the latest. Hi, Angie. Good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. It feels like I'm a broken record here talking about the weather across parts of the Southwest, specifically Southern California. We once again are waking up to some wet weather. We've still got the potential for some flooding, so no surprise that we're seeing these flood watches remain this morning. Some of them stretching into parts of Southwest Arizona. You can see just to the east of Indio included in that for California. And then the LA area, we do actually have a flash flood warning in effect there as of right now. And you can see why. We're spinning in more of this moisture, and it kind of just hangs around through the day today. It's a quick mover, so it'll take its time as it works towards Arizona today as far as that system is concerned. And the flood threat will remain, specifically concerned about those desert areas today. By tomorrow, a lot of that moisture is going to be over the Baja Peninsula, but we're still, again, going to see some of that kind of drift up into portions of southern Arizona. Notice Southern California looks a little drier, so we'll get a little bit of a break. But even still, between now and tomorrow, we'll see those highest amounts centered across parts of southeastern California and southwestern Arizona, up to an inch, maybe some isolated amounts a little higher than that. Meanwhile, in the middle of the country, we've got another storm system that's kind of working its way to the east. This is going to be basically a rainmaker from the Ohio Valley to the mid-Atlantic, and that's where I would watch for maybe some slower travel today. There'll be scattered showers for the southeast, so maybe one or two that you'll have to dodge there. And then it really picks up its pace and races across parts of the northeast and mid-Atlantic for tomorrow. So we'll see the first half of the day in places like New York City with a little bit of rain, but I think that should clear out pretty quickly, and you'll be back to enjoying your weekend. Speaking of the weekend, here's the big picture look. Really warm conditions, again, they continue across the middle of the country. We've got a whole lot of sunshine for the Great Lakes in the Midwest. There's that light rain that I mentioned for the east. And then looking ahead to Sunday, actually the fourth busiest travel day, guys. So we know that we're going to be looking at the airports and looking at any trouble spots. The couple that I want you to note, Northwest is going to see some rainfall. So places like Seattle, Portland, you could see maybe some delays there. They'll be likely. So I would definitely take Maggie's advice when you're considering heading to those airports. Dallas, similar story. Otherwise, there sure is a lot of green on this map, from Boston to Miami, Chicago, Minneapolis, looking really good for Sunday. And the roads, it's going to be those same kind of spots. So the Southern Rockies and the Plains, you could see some wet roads and maybe even a little bit of snow. And then similar story along I-5 across parts of the Pacific Northwest. You'll see some of those likely delays on the roadways. It'll take you a little longer to get where you're going. And we kind of keep that going as we look ahead into Wednesday. I know I've skipped a couple days, but again, another busy travel day. Wednesday, you can see a lot of rain across the east. And then as we look at those airports, it's going to be Boston to Atlanta that we watch. But it just looks like rain right now. So I'm not too concerned, but we know how the snowball effect works with things like this weather delays.
And it looks like if you do end up in Chicago with your shorts and a Hawaiian shirt, it's actually not maybe tolerable. You might be okay.
Right, you won't need your parka.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Angie.
Thank you. All right. Well, with a few very notable exceptions, U.S. leaders from across the past few decades gathered in Washington on Thursday for the funeral of former Vice President Dick Cheney. While he was a powerful and polarizing figure when in office, friends and family from both sides of the political aisle gathered to honor his legacy. NBC News Chief Washington correspondent Andrea Mitchell has a look at how he was remembered.
At the National Cathedral, a bipartisan farewell for Dick Cheney, perhaps the most powerful vice president of modern times, and also controversial. Chosen by George W. Bush to select a running mate in 2000, he then got the job.
I realized the best choice for the vice president was the man sitting right in front of me.
His last act, uniting 2 former presidents and 4 former vice presidents from opposing parties, including Kamala Harris, whom Cheney endorsed over President Trump. Neither President Trump nor Vice President Vance were invited. Trump has not commented. This from Vance.
We certainly wish his family all the best in this moment of grieving.
Cheney's daughter Liz, who lost her congressional seat after investigating the attack on the Capitol, said her dad always put country over party.
For him, a choice between defense of the Constitution and defense of your political party was no choice at all.
After 9/11, Cheney faced fierce backlash for supporting the U.S. invasion of Iraq. The belief that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction proved wrong.
This was a vice president totally devoted to protecting the United States and its interests. There was never any agenda or angle beyond that.
Cheney's Pentagon spokesman, our former colleague Pete Williams, described how Cheney treated his aides.
When the boss that you serve cleans up after your mistakes, you can bet that inspires loyalty.
Both men from the same town in Wyoming. Pete also recalled if he had gone fishing with Cheney and said 10 words all day, Cheney would have said he talked too much.
Oh, Andrea, thank you so much.
Great tribute from our colleague, Pete Williams. All right, much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, the bidding war has begun for Warner Brothers Discovery. 3 major rivals now officially in the running to try and buy the entertainment giant. We're going to bring you the latest.
Up first, though, new developments in a case that's sort of become the center of America's deportation battle. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Border Patrol agents have concluded their immigration enforcement operations in Charlotte, North Carolina, according to the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. The Department of Homeland Security says agents arrested more than 250 people in dramatic and chaotic scenes that sparked fear and forced many businesses to close. A senior DHS official has told NBC News that agents are planning to head to New Orleans next, with operations expected to start after Thanksgiving.
In other immigration news, a federal judge in Maryland could be on the verge of releasing Kilmar Abrego Garcia from ICE custody. Abrego had been living in Maryland with his wife and children when he was deported to El Salvador. Despite a court order barring that, he was eventually brought back to the U.S.
He's become really a symbol of the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. An evidentiary hearing was held yesterday on Abrego's potential deportation, but a top ICE official testifying struggled to answer the judge's questions about the case. Abrego has been held in a Pennsylvania detention center for 3 months.
NBC News legal affairs reporter Gary Grumbach joins us now with the latest on this. So, Gary, walk us through what happened during yesterday's hearing on this potential deportation and why the judge could end up releasing Abrego.
Yeah, well, Joe, it appears the Trump administration has no real imminent plans to actually deport Kilmar Abrego Garcia from the United States to a country that is A, willing to take him, or B, that Abrego doesn't say he has a fear of going to, that he would be potentially tortured or persecuted if he went there. The Trump administration has tried to send Abrego to Uganda. They said no. They tried to send him to Ghana. They said no. Tried to send him to Eswatini. They said no. They tried to send him to Liberia. That is a country that Liberia was willing to welcome him, but Abrego said he was going to face torture or potential persecution if he went to that country. Costa Rica did seem like a country that was going to be okay for all parties, but suddenly the Trump administration does not want to send him to Costa Rica, and the judge yesterday couldn't get any answers why. So because of that, Judge Zenas may very well order Kilmar Abrego Garcia released from ICE custody, because ICE custody is not supposed to be a punitive long-term place for him to be. It's supposed to be a temporary holding facility, guys.
We know he has a criminal trial coming up in Tennessee in January. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so if he is released from ICE custody, he will not just be a free man here in the state of Maryland. He will be under strict conditions of release, and that's because of that trial in January in Tennessee. He's being charged with several counts of human smuggling related to a 2022 traffic stop there. But he would be under conditions of release in Maryland that essentially don't let him leave his brother's house unless he's going to work or another essential service, guys.
Gary, because this case is such a flashpoint, we saw protests outside the court in Maryland yesterday. Tell us more about who was there and what we heard from them.
We have seen this group of protests at every single one of these Kilmar Abrego Garcia hearings since this all began back in March. We're talking more than a dozen now. We've seen members of the community, state lawmakers, national lawmakers gathering in support of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Here's what one of them had to say.
We are here to stand with his family, to say that in Maryland, we not only stand up and stand with immigrant communities, but if you're going to come and terrorize immigrant communities, our neighbors, you're going to have to come through us first.
And in a remarkable moment, guys, at the end of yesterday's hearing, Judge Zenas actually shouted out the protesters, thanking them for being there and thanking them for peacefully protesting. Guys.
Okay, Gary, thank you so much. Now, as the immigration crackdown continues, more and more immigrants say they're becoming victims of scams offering legal advice. Some are paying hundreds, even thousands of dollars to scammers for services that ultimately are not real. NBC News Now anchor Zincle Esama spoke with one person who was targeted.
This is one of the numbers Carlos says regularly calls them, offering immigration legal services in the United States. It's a number they now believe belongs to a scammer after they lost hundreds of dollars seeking asylum services of their own.
Una persona me dio un lugar donde supuestamente sacaban asilo. Me dijo que me iba a cobrar como $600. Me hizo un papeleo, pero nunca me entregó papeles y cuando ya fui, ya no estaba la oficina. Había desaparecido.
The 43-year-old, who uses they-them pronouns, came to the United States in September 2023 during the Biden administration using the CBP One app. Carlos, who asked us not to use their last name or show their face, says they had to flee their home in Ecuador out of fear for their life due to discrimination based on their sexuality.
Tenía mucho miedo.
Carlos is still in the process of seeking asylum in the U.S. after a failed attempt paying what they now believe was a fake lawyer. How much money did you end up paying this person?
500.
And did you ever receive any legal services, any form of support or goods?
No, no recibo nada.
Do you believe you were scammed?
Por supuesto que sí. Como yo no sabía nada de esta situación, apenas tenía 2 meses de haber llegado a este país.
Now, lawmakers in New York City warn more and more immigrants are losing hundreds or even thousands of dollars to individuals impersonating attorneys or federal agents.
They're not trying to be here illegally. They're here following the due process.
New York City Council member Julie Wan says dozens of constituents reach out to her office weekly, alleging they were scammed.
They bring over these flyers to us. They said, is this real? I followed the instructions. I scanned this QR code, or I went on this Facebook page, made an appointment. They asked me for an advance of anywhere from $600 to $2,000 in order for me to get this appointment to fill out my immigration papers. And I paid them, and when I showed up to this office, nobody was there.
Amid the rise in complaints, Wan proposed and ultimately passed a New York City law doubling the penalties for fake immigration legal services from $3,900 to $20,000 for scammers with multiple violations. It comes as in New York City alone, immigration-related scams rose by 27% last year, according to the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. An NBC News investigation finding reports of fraudulent immigration lawyers and federal agents appearing in at least 30 states across the country. Carlos will be assigned a court-appointed attorney, but in the waiting, they still receive calls from possible scammers.
Estoy preocupada porque todavía no tengo abogado. Tengo miedo que me hagan otro fraude, por eso acudí aquí para que me ayudara y voy a esperar.
Thanks to Zincle Esama for that report. Well, the American Bar Association has also issued an alert to the public, warning of an increase in the number of individuals impersonating lawyers. The organization told NBC News they recently received more than a dozen reports of scammers falsely posing as American Bar Association employed immigration lawyers. Coming up, an alarming study that could be hard to swallow. Researchers linking popular ultra-processed foods to chronic disease. We'll break down the findings and what doctors want you to know before you head down the snack aisle. This is Morning News Now. We're back with a stark warning published in one of the world's leading scientific journals that says ultra-processed foods now pose a massive threat to global health and well-being. This was in a series of 3 papers. It's published in The Lancet. The study found ultra-processed foods, UPFs they're also called, are linked to harm in every major organ system. The evidence was reviewed by 43 of the world's leading experts. The studies conclude that food companies are putting profit over well-being, which is leading to a concerning rise in diet trends that can have a serious impact on our overall health. Let's bring in our friend, NBC News medical contributor, Dr. Natalie Azar, for more on this. Dr. Azar, good morning. Okay, I'm so interested in this. I feel like UPFs, ultra-processed foods, have almost become this like buzzword, but for good reason. We need to understand what they are, what it's doing to put in our body. So first, can you help us understand what is an ultra-processed food? Why are they so bad?
Absolutely. So as the name implies, ultra-processed foods are foods that are meant to be, first of all, have a very, very long shelf life. So if you just think of anything that you have to open in a package, you can already assume that there's going to be some degree of processing in there. But I think just sort of the take home here, ultra processed means usually very highly palatable. That means it's going to taste really good, high in sugar, salt, saturated fat, and very, very low in fiber, as well as all those important macro and micronutrients, vitamins, and minerals. So just by their very nature, they are typically very nutritionally void foods. And that is what is thought to be contributing to the chronic disease epidemic.
One quick follow-up, Dr. Azar. I know that sometimes what confuses me is not all processing necessarily is bad. I think, is it maybe almost like we can use our best judgment? For example, non-fat Greek yogurt was processed to get the fat out. I'm thinking that's kind of in the column of good for you versus Snickers and chips are not.
Yes. Yeah, and that's why you're going to hear some pushback, which, to be honest, I don't think is totally sincere. But yes, of course, if you have frozen broccoli in the freezer, that has been processed. That is absolutely fine. And any nutritionist will tell you that it's fine to eat frozen vegetables from the freezer. And your example of non-fat Greek yogurt is exactly that. But the things that we all know, obviously, Savannah, chips and sodas and things like that, and highly processed meats, that's really what we're concentrating on here.
Okay, good to know. Also, I mentioned this really gets your attention that they harm every major organ system. What are they doing to our bodies? What's happening internally because of UPFs?
So think about it, what I just said about how the nutritional content of ultra-processed foods generally, again, the ones that we're talking about that are particularly high in saturated fat and salt and sugar, they just don't have any nutritional value. And over time, all of those different chemicals and compounds and things like that can lead to chronic inflammation, which ultimately can lead to chronic disease. We talk a lot about what diseases are associated with ultra-processed foods. We're talking about all the metabolic diseases like heart disease and type 2 diabetes, certain cancers, for example, colorectal cancer, being associated with highly processed meats that, especially meats, that has been designated as a carcinogen for years by the World Health Organization. And so that's really the concern here, is that you're ingesting all of these foods that have no nutritional value that down the line can increase the risk for these chronic diseases, Savannah.
One of the things that came out of these papers, doctor, and it makes sense, right, is that this isn't just on us to not pick those things at the grocery store. We need government intervention. We need help with what's able to even be produced and put on our shelves in the first place. I think about recent examples of what's going on with food dye and the government, the FDA stepping in. Do you have hope that something like that will happen? And how needed do you think that is to reverse this on a large scale?
So it's 100,000% needed. My optimism for how much we're going to be able to get accomplished, and especially in an economy and an ethos in this country, I'm not that optimistic about it, Savannah. And that is because we basically have, for the last number of decades, we have had a very pro-corporation, deregulatory environment where these companies are absolutely favoring profit over public health. It's easy for you and me to say, pick a healthy food. But if you're living in a place in the country where access to whole food and fresh fruit and vegetables is not available, and the abundance of food that is available is ultra processed, you're not going to be able to accomplish that without some sort of whole of government movement to make that happen.
Really quickly, Dr. Azar, just give us, I know some of it might be kind of obvious, but some habits on a daily basis we can keep in mind.
Oh, 100%. So if you're looking at something that, first of all, is in a package, make sure that it's 5 ingredients or less. Make sure that you at least know what the first 3 ingredients might be. And this is a pearl, I think, for everybody. If a food is ultra processed, that means it probably contains things like flavors, emulsifiers, all of these things that you probably wouldn't have in your own kitchen. So if the ingredient list is not something that you have in your shelf, it's probably ultra processed and not that good for you. Try to make one change a week and you're already going to be way ahead of the game.
Dr. Azar, such important information. Great conversation. Thank you for joining us. Well, this next story is sort of like a different kind of medical miracle. 2 Minnesota teens met in a hospital after surviving traumatic brain injuries. And in a romantic twist, with a little help from moms turned matchmakers, their scary road to recovery led to a fairy tale ending. Boyd Huppert from Care 11 in Minneapolis has the story.
7 years ago, they arrived at Regions Hospital as strangers. Zach Zarembinski in one ambulance, Isabel Richard in another.
Mine was October 27th, and yours was
November 5th.
Isabel's journey started at 16 in this mangled car. Zach's at 18, making tackles for his high school football team.
I just was like praying.
Both moms told their children might not survive.
She had shards of glass still in her hair, and she was unconscious.
Zach spent 9 days in a coma. Isabel was still in a coma.
Grateful for all the support.
When Zach appeared at this hospital news conference.
My husband and my sister said, let's go down. They're going to give us hope.
And when Zach's mom heard Isabel was out of her coma.
We're going. Yeah, we're going.
Said a couple kind words to Isabel, and that was it for 6 years.
But not it for moms Tracy and Esther.
We stayed in touch on Facebook.
But it took the moms getting the families together for dinner.
I asked her for her phone number.
Which led to this first date, which led to this.
I love you.
I love you too.
Which brings us back to the hospital. And 2 families tipped on what's about to happen around the corner.
I just have a question for you. Will you marry me?
Yes.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
2 lives that intersected in the worst of times are now paving the way for the best.
It's just like sorrow to joy.
Yes.
For NBC News, Boyd Huppert, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay, I'm not crying, you're crying. That was so sweet. Coming up, deals or duds, growing concern as the trade war continues that those big Black Friday discounts we're used to seeing won't be happening this year. What shoppers need to know. And Zip It Good, the new look for one of the oldest forms of fashion hardware. Don't zip away. Morning News Now will be right back. We are back with a growing concern for many Americans as the holiday shopping season kicks off. Some Black Friday deals have already started, but experts warn shoppers might not see the big discounts they usually see, and that's because of tariffs. Allie Spilliards from NBC Dallas spoke to 2 business owners who said they had to raise their prices and cut back on sales.
If you're starting to plan your holiday shopping, you should know that consumer experts say Black Friday is going to look a little different this year. Come on, we're going to go find out why.
The tariffs came. I think everyone didn't know what was coming next. We were negotiating with our factories, trying to lower costs on that end, and then also raise costs a bit for our customers to help mitigate, the overall price we had to pass on.
That's Jeremy and Lila Stewart.
So this is our amazing slipper line.
The founders of Dallas-based flip-flop brand Hari Mari. This past August, tariffs on Chinese imports led them to raise prices anywhere from $10 to $15 a pair. So while they'd never forego their annual Black Friday and Cyber Monday sale.
Oh my gosh, it's crucial.
This year, they're rethinking it.
These are our gift with purchases.
Skipping discounts for top sellers and doing what they can to offset a discount that doesn't dip as low as it once did.
Given this has been a different year for sure, we've started a new promotion. It's actually running right now, and it's something that we normally don't do and we haven't done before in terms of what we're offering, which is a gift with purchase. So hopefully for any of those consumers that might be a little upset about the price increase, we're adding a little bit of an extra value.
According to some recent headlines, Hari Mari is not alone. In a recent Bloomberg report shared by our partners at the Dallas Morning News, they named 6 major retailers also cutting back on promotions this year. And CNBC also recently reported that the holidays are when consumers will start to feel the impact of tariffs. They say that's because many stocked up ahead of duties, absorbing some of that early impact. While the upcoming season is still uncertain, Hari Mari not only survived the pandemic, but grew.
I feel like if a business, a brand, personal families can weather a storm like that, then now it's, the conversation's not as big.
The Stewarts have faith. They'll weather this one too.
We've come such a long way.
Our thanks to Ali Spilliards from NBC Dallas for that report there. Well, for more, we now want to talk with a CEO. We have Monty Sharma. He's the CEO of Therabody. You've probably heard of it. It's a popular wellness technology brand. You might have your Theragun, Theraface, all these different types of things that we love. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning.
Thanks for having me.
I'd love to just ask you right off the back of that how tariffs have impacted you and your company, what it's done as you calculate what you can kind of handle in terms of Black Friday sales, deals, if that's had an impact for you.
Yeah, tariffs definitely had an impact for Therabody through the course of 2025. It's been a challenging year for us, but we have figured out a way to move our supply chains out of China into other countries, diversify them, reduce our operating expenses. We did have to take a slight price increase for the first time since we've ever operated our business, and with that, we have been able to think about how to approach the consumer during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday time period, which is very important for us because Therabody products are often gifted during this time period. Absolutely. You'll see our products underneath many Christmas trees across the country. But one thing that helped us a lot, Savannah, was the recent reduction of tariffs that the administration just settled with China. We are taking that 10% reduction and immediately passing that on to consumers because we know consumers are in a difficult place right now. And so you will see us be on sale a little bit more because those tariff reductions are being passed right back on.
What are you noticing about the consumer right now? And of course, when it's a gifting time, like you said, this is a great gift, but something that otherwise might be a stretch for people to be buying when their wallets and budgets are tight. What have you seen?
We are actually seeing good pockets of strength with our new products that we have launched. We are seeing them be right on plan. Black Friday, Cyber Monday started for many companies yesterday, and our results were pretty right where we expected them to be. We certainly think that at the entry price point level, where moms are coming in with our products, et cetera, we have to be more competitive there. We are offering greater discounts there. But we are generally seeing a good resilience with our consumers with our products.
Okay, that's good news for you. What do you think in terms of wellness? I think, of course, we talk a lot about gifting and what you think we're going to see as we head into the season. Certainly 1 week out from Black Friday, people are thinking about the gifts that they're going to buy. The wellness industry has obviously exploded, not even just recently. It's obviously been a long time coming, but it's now a $2 trillion market. And we actually have data that shows that Americans spend more than $6,000 a year per person in this space. What do you think we see this year when it comes to gift giving in the wellness space?
So wellness has over time become really mainstream, and consumers are not willing to give up their wellness routines despite the challenges we are having. So I think that's really good news because people are getting healthier and staying healthier no matter what the economic challenges are, which is really good because if you don't stay healthy, you add more complexities. So we are seeing strength there. We think that the data completely points to consumers not compromising in wellness. So therefore, I think it's making a big difference for Therabody because all our products that are launching or we operate in the wellness technology area. And I think people are also taking to our products, Savannah, because they are getting away from things like medication, pain medication. This is a much better way to go than to get dependent on pain meds.
I've seen a lot of newness from the company, just even online on social media, the way that you're marketing your products. You have these deals with, as you sort of move into these different spaces, Josh Allen, when you talk about sort of sports recovery and how people use a Theragun, Kendall Jenner, and some of the beauty products that you're moving into. What can consumers or fans of Therabody expect in terms of what they're going to see in spaces like that and also your new products?
So Therabody, as you know, first started with our percussive signature Theragun. Our technology has now evolved into, that was just essentially mostly for athletes, but we've taken that technology and made it available for everybody because we believe recovery is not just for the athlete, it's also for mom, it's for granddads, parents. So we think that will continue. We think that wellness, facial beauty is part of wellness. So we are taking our technologies and applying them to the wellness, to the face as well. And our recent launch of face glow mask, it's really being accepted extremely well because it has, the product has 504 lights. It has the largest clinical study we've ever done on a device like this. And you see clear results within 12 weeks around your eyes, your lips, your foreheads, things
sign me up, man. Monty Sharma, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming by, having a broad conversation about the shopping season about to get underway. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you.
Thank you.
We've got more money news now. The bids are in for Warner Brothers Discovery. We've got NBC's Emily Lorsch joining us now with more on the high-stakes bidding war and our Money Minute this morning. Hey, Em, good morning.
Hey, Savannah, we start this Friday morning with a major shakeup that could be coming to Hollywood as bids roll in for Warner Brothers Discovery. Paramount, Netflix, and Comcast, which is NBC's parent company, all submitted offers yesterday for some or all of the company. That's according to multiple reports. Paramount is the only bidder seeking the company's entire portfolio, while Netflix and Comcast are targeting the studio and streaming side. The board is expected to review the bids and prepare for potentially another bidding round that could transform the entertainment landscape. And OpenAI and electronics giant Foxconn are joining forces to design and build hardware for AI data centers. At its U.S. facilities, Foxconn will work on cabling, networking, and power systems, and OpenAI will have early access to evaluate and potentially purchase them. This deal comes as Foxconn has been working to diversify its business. Finally, the cost of Thanksgiving dinner has dropped again for the third year in a row. A new survey from the American Farm Bureau Federation shows that a meal for 10 people will cost just more than $55 this year. That's a 5% decline from last year and the lowest it's been since 2021. The main reason for that drop, the average Thanksgiving turkey is 16% cheaper, according to the Farm Bureau. Now, so that, of course, that really depends on what size you choose. I personally think Thanksgiving dinner is all about the sides. And as we know, a lot of those prices have gone up.
Stuffing, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese, a tie for me. What are your favorites?
I like all three of those. I agree with that. Stuffing just always comes out on top for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Emily?
I like a sweet potato, too, in there.
Oh, that's good.
That's a no for me. But I appreciate that you shared that. Thank you, Emily.
One of fashion's oldest hardware features is getting a glow up. The new and improved zipper will be smoother, lighter, and more flexible. One of the world's biggest zipper makers says it's a tiny update that could have big impacts on the future of clothing. NBC News correspondent Valerie Castro got a first-hand look.
It's the most overlooked part of your clothing until it gets stuck.
I don't want to breathe it, guys.
We're all familiar with the jam, the snag.
How does this happen? It's not budging.
And the panic pull.
I don't think I can get it off.
Now, the world's largest zipper company says it's time for a makeover. You've probably seen YKK's logo hiding on your clothing. The 90-year-old Japanese company makes more than 100 million zippers a year.
The way zippers are designed has remained unchanged for about the last 100 years. This new design is a lot sleeker, but it has that same satisfying sound.
This new innovation, we're stripping away the tape, so it only has the teeth. So it's quite revolutionary that now it doesn't have any tape. So it will be directly sewn on the fabric.
Christine Chen, manager of the brand's New York marketing office, says the new tapeless zippers operate much more smoothly than classic zippers on the market.
They will be sewing directly to the tape, so you can feel it's very flexible compared to the traditional one that has tape.
She also says they're less bulky, lighter, and more sustainable.
When this gets sewn in, is it just thread going around the individual teeth?
Exactly. So you can see here directly there's a sewing thread to the fabric.
It feels like it just makes everything lighter.
But there is one catch. The new zipper needs specialized sewing machines to attach it, and right now that means a steeper price.
Hopefully in the future, when the demand is bigger, we have more machineries, then hopefully the cost can come down.
Still, popular outdoor clothing brand The North Face says the upgrade is worth it. No tape means it's lighter weight, and every bit counts when you're gearing up for adventures like climbing Mount Everest.
Does this new zipper really make that much of a difference when it comes to how much the clothing weighs?
It does. Really, this is sort of a game of marginal gains where a gram here, a gram there, or in this case, several grams, actually goes a long way to reducing overall pack weight.
Kyle Parker with The North Face says the company is using the zipper to outfit its mountaineering gear.
Even though this seems like a small tweak, is this a game changer?
It's a game changer in a lot of ways. Having a zipper that can be applied differently and really think about how can we reduce weight without impacting performance. That is, kind of a new way of thinking about old technology.
YKK hoping its small tweak will eventually have a big market pull. Valerie Castro, NBC News.
The zipper is why I haven't climbed Mount Everest. Yeah. All right, coming up on Morning News Now, a story that will warm your heart.
There's a little tag on each of them, and it says, "I'm not lost. If you need a scarf, take me and keep warm."
Oh, when we return, we're going to take you to a small Wisconsin town where one woman is giving back to her tight-knit community ahead of winter. We'll be right back.
We end this hour with a story about the warmth of small-town charm.
As many northern states brace for the bitter winter months, one woman in Wisconsin is making sure everyone in her community gets to bundle up. Kim Leadholm from our NBC affiliate in Eau Claire has the story.
Everybody knows everybody. You want to help your neighbor.
There's often a charm that comes with small towns.
Chippewa Falls is a real tight-knit community. However, we welcome everybody. We love everybody.
And gestures to show that support can be big or small.
It's people like this, somebody that isn't even on our radar that comes to us and are like, I want to do something. Like Terry approached me last year. This is her second year of doing this. How kind and how generous. And we were like, yes, of course.
Terry Betts, who grew up in Chippewa Falls, crocheted 60 scarves and just a few days ago tied them downtown.
There's a little tag on each of them, and it says, I'm not lost. If you need a scarf, take me and keep warm. So we just are handing them out so everybody in Chippewa can stay warm this winter.
Scarves crocheted together with no strings attached.
Chippewa's been pretty darn good to my family and me all these years, and a small community is just so great about taking care of one another.
The season ahead is known for its chill.
It's truly going to help somebody in the winter months, because winters here cannot be pleasant sometimes. I mean, those darn winds can really whip. So that's nice in that way. I like to be able to use a talent that I have and that I enjoy to give back to whoever it is.
But through more than 400 hours of crocheting, Terry Betts worked to make sure those winds didn't hold such a bite, at least for some people.
That's the kind of stuff that a small town is.
Combating those darn winds there. Thanks to Kim.
Is she the greatest
Leadholm.
woman you've ever seen in your life?
Love that story.
Yes.
Thanks, Kim, for that story. That is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now. Good morning, good news. It's finally Friday. We're happy you're with us. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, the Thanksgiving holiday hop kicking into high gear. Millions of Americans bracing to take the highways and skyways over the next week. But Mother Nature is bringing a little something extra to the dinner table, stuffing travelers with a heaping helping of some added stress. So are the nation's airports up to the turkey-sized task? Our Angie Lastman has your full forecast. Plus, let's talk about microdosing. It is a buzzworthy new trend that's dominating the modern weight loss conversation, taking smaller doses of those popular injectables, all to slim down on the potential side effects. But one obesity expert warns once you cut the jab, the weight could come crawling back. And later in the hour, fresh concerns over the health of country darling Dolly Parton. She missed a pair of award show honors this week, but never fear, she is clearing the air, reassuring fans she'll be back working that 9 to 5 soon enough. A couple award shows she was supposed to appear at this week. She wasn't able to make it in person, but put out some videos so we could hear from Dolly directly about how she's doing.
Thank goodness.
We'll bring you that in a little bit. Let's begin this hour with the big holiday getaway. A record 82 million Americans are expected to travel for Thanksgiving, but two major storms are threatening to cause major delays across the country.
Yeah, in western Texas, a powerful dust storm swept through several towns, blinding drivers and bringing traffic to a halt. In central Texas, over 10 inches of rain fell in a short period of time, prompting emergency evacuations as parts of the San Saba River reached major flood stage, overspilling its banks. And in California, more storms are in the forecast, prompting flood warnings in the southern part of the state. It's already underwater there, waterlogged from a week of heavy rain. NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa is out at Chicago's O'Hare Airport. She's got the latest on what you can expect for your travel plans.
Hey there from O'Hare. Busy as expected on this kind of kickoff day to the Thanksgiving travel rush. But so far, things appear to be moving along smoothly, both here and relatively so nationwide. We're seeing delays and cancellation numbers nationwide remaining relatively low. So that's good news. This with, of course, all eyes on America's airports for the next week or more as a historic number of Americans head out for the holiday.
This morning, the record Thanksgiving rush is on, with 82 million Americans set to travel, many hungry for a holiday feast with loved ones.
I'm going to go visit my brother in Tennessee.
Yeah, I haven't seen my aunt in over 5 years.
31 million passengers set to fly this week. That surge already hitting a snag with severe storms and flash flooding overnight wreaking havoc in Texas. Rain forcing evacuations and cancellations stacking up.
Made it.
More rain farther west with millions under flood alerts, water rising in parts of California near Los Angeles. More storms are slated for next week with possible snow set to slam millions farther east. All of it on the heels of the government shutdown that led to widespread flight delays and cancellations, but some good news for travelers. This morning, United, American, Delta, and Southwest Airlines all tell NBC News they're confident they can handle the holiday rush. Same goes for airports nationwide. Officials asking the public to do their part.
And our message is simple. Plan ahead and allow extra time.
Advice echoed by industry analysts who say passengers should download their airline's apps, consider rerouting connections around severe weather, and keep a change of clothes just in case.
Tempers may be short, so leave extra time for any hiccups to happen.
Most travelers are expected to hit the roads, with at least 73 million people driving to their Thanksgiving destinations. Best advice for weathering the holiday rush?
Pack your patience. And just be nice.
Yeah, that's good advice. Back to those lasting ripple effects from the government shutdown. The Trump administration this morning officially announcing those $10,000 bonuses for, they say, nearly 800 air traffic controllers and technicians who worked through the shutdown. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy calling them patriotic men and women who, quote, never missed a beat and kept the flying public safe. Back to you.
All right, Maggie, thank you so much.
For more on that weather Maggie was just talking about that's shaking up holiday travel.
Let's check in with our friend Angie. She's back. Hi, Angie. Good morning.
Hi, guys. I've got all the deets. Good morning to you. We've got, of course, still, kind of that active weather hanging on across parts of the Southwest. It is a wet morning, and we've got the flood alerts to prove that we're still dealing with that concern all the way through this morning and even into the afternoon hours. Today, you can see some flash flood warnings across the LA area. The ground is just so saturated. We're continuing to see rain across this region. We're going to get a break here for folks in that region, but we've got to get through today at least. And you can see that slow moving system is going to slide a little farther towards Arizona today. We'll still see the flooding concerns across parts of the desert. And then tomorrow, more of that rain kind of drifting into the southern portions of Arizona as this area of low pressure kind of spins near the Baja California Peninsula. That's where we're going to keep basically those highest amounts of rainfall totals. You can see where you see the yellow, about an inch of rain. Of course, problematic for this region, even an inch or so. So we'll, again, watch for the flooding concerns there. Meanwhile, we're going to gear up for this coast-to-coast storm to kind of take shape here as we get through the weekend. So Sunday through Monday, we've got heavy rain that expands from basically anywhere across the Southwest all the way to the plains. This is going to leave us with, yes, some delays probably with those high rainfall rates and also probably some flooding. This is the area we're specifically going to watch for flash flood risk as we get into Sunday and Monday. So San Angelo stretching to Little Rock, Memphis included in that, Dallas as well, Shreveport too. So heads up for the early part of our next work day. Light rain for a lot of folks across the eastern half of the country. I think we'll maybe see some road and air delays across the Midwest and maybe Southeast. But the good news is when I'm looking at this, it doesn't look to be, really active weather. It more so is just some light rain that likely could slow you down on the roads or maybe at the airports. As we get into Wednesday, really big travel day. We know that it's going to leave us with some rain across parts of the East Coast. We'll see a lot of that kind of sliding offshore. Still, maybe some wet roads. I'm not expecting major delays. This is always feels so good as a meteorologist to say on a holiday week. But still, I would just be aware that maybe you could come across some of those delays across the east, possible for Detroit, Boston, New York, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Seattle, and Portland are one of the spots that I would really watch on Wednesday for some likely delays. But otherwise, flying in and out of Dallas, L.A., San Francisco, Minneapolis, Chicago looks really good. The roads, I-64, I-40, I-75, I would watch for maybe some slower goes. And then that snow across I-90 and I-5 you'll have to watch too. Thanksgiving Day, look how good this forecast is, guys. Woo! Well, you just got a little bit of a preview.
We trust you.
Bring it back up. It's honestly going to be a really good kind of Thanksgiving day if you're getting on the roads. Not a lot of things to slow you down. We'll have a whole lot of sunshine and honestly, coast to coast, there's very little problematic weather on Thanksgiving Day.
That's all you need to know.
Which if
I wanted to end with,
Well, those parade balloons will be flying high and looking good. That's the most important thing.
That is the most important thing, and we are hoping that is the case.
Thanks, Angie.
Thank you. All right. Well, this morning, President Trump is facing mounting criticism after he accused several Democrats of, quote, seditious behavior. punishable by death. Trump posted the divisive comments on social media yesterday in response to a video that was released by 6 members of Congress. So in it, they call on U.S. service to protect the Constitution and refuse what they called illegal orders. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander joins me now with the details. Peter, good morning.
Savannah and Joe, good morning to both of you. The fallout from those presidential posts has really been quick and fierce and has reignited serious concerns about potential political violence. Even the Senate's top Republican, who criticized the Democrats' video as ill-advised and clearly provocative, acknowledged that he certainly does not agree with the president's conclusion on how it should be addressed. This morning, new security concerns and growing backlash.
We got to lower the temperature.
After President Trump attacked 6 Democratic lawmakers online yesterday, writing, quote, seditious behavior punishable by death. The Democrats, all veterans of the military or intelligence community, had posted a video calling on members of the military to defy what they called illegal orders.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
The Democrats were not specific in the video, but say they've heard concerns from troops about the Trump administration strikes against alleged drug boats near South America and about the use of troops in U.S. cities. The president writing online yesterday, it's called seditious behavior at the highest level. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial, before saying seditious behavior was punishable by death. And later reposting another user's comment that read, hang them, George Washington would. The White House denying the president called for violence in his posts.
Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No.
But Democrats say President Trump's words are dangerous.
He's got supporters out there that they listen to what he says.
Michigan Democrat Alyssa Slotkin, who appears in the video, tells NBC News she now has 24/7 security after receiving close to 1,000 threats following the president's posts.
The threat level just went through the roof.
The White House putting the blame on the Democrats.
They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command.
Some Republicans are calling for the rhetoric to come down.
The words that the president chose are not the ones that I would use, okay? Obviously, I don't think that these are crimes punishable by death or any of that, okay? They said what they did was, I think, unprecedented in American history, and it should be called out, and that's what the president is expressing.
Later today, President Trump is scheduled to host another been fiercely critical of. That's New York City's newly elected mayor, Zohran Mamdani, who the president has repeatedly attacked as a communist. In fact, Mamdani is a self-described democratic socialist. President Trump has threatened to pull federal money from New York City. Mamdani says that he'll be ready for anything here and that he would like to work with the president on making life more affordable for his constituents. Joe and Savannah.
All right, Peter, thank you.
New polls out this week could signal trouble for President Trump and the Republican Party as they look ahead to next year's midterms.
One of the new surveys that's from Fox News, it shows a majority of voters believe the president's economic policies are doing more harm than good.
NBC News senior national politics reporter John Allen joins us now to break down some of these numbers. John, good to have you with us. So this new poll from Fox shows some 76% of voters have a negative view of the national economy. And then when it comes to just people's personal finances, 60% are feeling pessimistic. Obviously, fixing the economy was one of the major policies President Trump ran on. It's one of the main reasons he was elected. So what does this tell you?
It tells me that people aren't feeling the relief that President Trump promised. I mean, certainly there may be some who are, but in the aggregate, the American public is not feeling that relief. He said he was going to end inflation on day one. Obviously, we continue to have inflation. Of course, ending inflation, just to be clear, ending inflation or creating deflation is very dangerous for the economy, too. I think, generally speaking, political leaders would like to slow the rate of inflation. But the average person, when they go to the grocery store, when they go to a restaurant, when they go to the store to buy clothes for their kids, they are not feeling like their dollar goes as far as it used to. And that's what we're seeing in the polling, and it's dragging down President Trump's numbers in terms of his overall approval rating, not just the way people are perceiving the economy.
Yeah, let's talk about that overall job number approval there. When he returned to office in January, 45% of Americans approved of his job performance. How have things now changed? We could see the big number on our screen right now.
It's been, they have definitely gone down. That's the one trend that we see that is consistent. So we've got on the screen there a Reuters Ipsos poll that has him at 38%. We've got a Fox News poll that just came out that had him at 41%. NBC News recently had him about that level, 41%. So wherever it is in that range, what we've seen in the polls over time is that his number is coming down. He would like to be in a place where, like all presidents would, where the majority of Americans approve of his job performance. And we're a year out from the midterm elections, and his approval rating, the approval of his policies, will reflect on the candidates on the ballot, for his party. So Republicans are certainly hopeful that he is able to recover some traction.
John, let's talk more about midterms. We've seen these redistricting efforts happening around the country. Both Democrats and Republicans look to try and redraw their congressional maps, hoping that'll give them an edge in next year's elections. That just aside, how are voters feeling as they look to the midterms next year?
Worried. I mean, one of the things that I think that Fox News poll suggests, where 60% of the people feel like their own personal situation is not great on the economy, but 76% think the economy is really bad. That suggests to me that the perception of the economy, the way people feel about how things are going, is very bad, right? If you're able to say, oh, like I'm doing okay, but I think the economy overall is bad, that suggests to me a fear and expectation things might turn poorly. So, the president's got some work to do to convince the public that both already is in their interests and what he's going to do here is in their interests. And one of the limitations on that at this point is that he doesn't really have a legislative agenda. So, and we all know that the president has acted unilaterally more than past presidents in terms of executive orders, in terms of his efforts to take, executive control. And so, I think when you head into the midterms, people are going to judge how the economy is doing very much by what the president has done and whether they feel like it's gotten them where they need to be right now. They don't. Of course, the midterms are a year away.
Yeah, and recent polls have also shown that voters do feel right now this is President Trump's economy and not the previous president's economy. All right, John Allen, good to have you with us. Thank you so much.
For more on the economic front, consumers in the U.S. could start seeing some relief at the grocery store.
President Trump removed his 40% tariff on Brazilian food imports that were imposed back in July.
We've got a friend, NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans here with us to talk more about this. Christine, good morning. A little bit of good news. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So first, just tell us why the Trump administration is rolling these back.
Well, it's so interesting. Remember, these were tariffs that were not to try to move production to the United States. These were tariffs that were a punishment on Brazil for the prosecution of its former president, who is an ally of Donald Trump. So the reason for these tariffs was different than a lot of these other tariffs. And some of these products we don't make in the U.S. And when you look at coffee, for example, when you put a 50% tariff, which is what it was last week, 50% tariff on coffee, that's going to mean higher coffee prices. Yeah. So the White House going to rewind some of those tariffs that it put on.
We've learned what all we get from Brazil because of these higher tariffs. What are some of the groceries that we've seen these prices go up and hope that they'll go down?
So the last couple of weeks we've seen juice prices go up. So there's some fruits, but coffee, beef, these are some of the items that they're specifically rolling back these tariffs on. You saw the White House last week roll back tariffs on a whole bunch of agriculture products from a lot of other countries. This one is very Brazil focused. And if I can just show you, coffee prices are now $9 a pound, more than $9 a pound. That is a big number. A ground beef, $6 a pound. Steak, $12 a pound. The Omaha Steaks CEO last week said people could be looking at $10 a pound burger by sometime next year, the way things are going, the way market forces are at work here. You put tariffs on top of market forces that were already driving up prices, and that was a real problem.
When do we see this relief? Any chances by the holidays?
I think coffee might be the first thing. We'll have to really watch, because some of these coffee producers, they were hoping that 50% tariffs were just not sustainable, right? They were hoping that these tariffs would fall. So they've got coffee in bonded warehouses before they have to pay the tariffs, just stored, ready to go. So I'm hoping that means the roasters will have beans to roast, and we will have relief on coffee prices sometime soon.
Folks will notice coffee prices. That is a guarantee.
And they notice hamburger. Like the first time I saw hamburger at $6 a pound, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, because that's just such a sticker shock.
Yeah.
So that ties into what you guys were just talking about with John Allen about the polls. I mean, I think that's really feeding into those poll numbers.
Absolutely. Christine, thank you.
You're welcome.
In Kentucky, the 14 people who died in that UPS cargo plane crash were remembered last night at a concert with the Louisville Orchestra. It comes after the National Transportation Safety Board released a preliminary report on the crash, which happened more than 2 weeks ago. Investigators also unveiled dramatic new photographs showing the moment the plane's left engine detached from the wing. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has the latest.
Yeah, Joe and Savannah, good morning. So a very poignant evening in Louisville as the city and the state remembered the people who lost their lives more than 2 weeks ago. And now more evidence that this crash has very troubling similarities to an American Airlines crash 46 years ago involving the previous version of the same plane. In Louisville overnight, a solemn orchestral celebration for the 14 lives lost in this month's horrific cargo plane crash. Mothers and fathers, a grandfather, sons and daughters, husbands and wives.
We are here to support and strengthen you and your families.
Now, new photos from the NTSB of the UPS MD-11 cargo plane preparing to take off, showing the left engine and its pylon detaching from the wing before the engine catches fire and is blown up and over the fuselage, dooming the 3 pilots on board and killing 11 people on the ground. In its preliminary report, the NTSB says investigators found critical evidence in the wreckage. Green arrows point to the fatigue fractures in the pylon structure that holds that engine to the wing. Did that cause the pylon to break off? The NTSB also noting haunting similarities to a 1979 crash involving the previous model of the same plane that killed everyone on board.
This is all that was left of American Airlines Flight 191, as far as it got on its way to Los Angeles.
Investigators later determined the engine and pylon came off that DC-10 after being damaged during maintenance. Now, 46 years later, a similar crash involving the next model of the same plane, the MD-11. The UPS plane that crashed in Louisville, built in 1994, went through routine maintenance in October, but wasn't yet due for a heavy, detailed pylon inspection.
There are some parallels to what happened in 1979.
There definitely are. Both airplanes failed. They failed for different reasons.
This morning, the MD-11 remains grounded. It will likely take a few weeks until the cargo plane flies again after FAA ordered inspections. After that 1979 crash involving the DC-10, the FAA ordered regular inspections of the pylon to ensure it was secure. The MD-11 was the next generation of the DC-10. And the NTSB says the UPS MD-11 that crashed was scheduled for its next heavy maintenance and pylon inspections, but only after another 7,000 takeoffs and landings. Joe and Savannah?
All right. Thanks for that update, Tom.
Well, there's much more to come on this Friday edition of Morning News Now, including the controversial new claim from the CDC that's once again putting vaccines in the headlines.
First, after the break, dummy diversity, why the DOT is rolling out some brand new female crash test dummies, and the department's push to try and help keep women safe behind the wheel. Those stories and more next.
Welcome back. The Transportation Department is rolling out a brand new test dummy, which it says is better suited to show what happens to female drivers and passengers when they're involved in a crash.
NBC News senior national correspondent Stephanie Gosk is here with the details on that. Steph, good morning.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Consider these statistics. Women are 73% more likely to be seriously injured in a head-on car crash than men, and 17% more likely to be killed. That may now change with the first female crash test dummy.
This morning, a new promise to keep women safer on the road.
We're releasing design specifications for this, the first ever advanced female crash test dummy.
Crash test dummies revolutionized car safety, but never with the female body specifically in mind.
Even with airbags, Vince, you still got to remember to buckle your safety belt.
But now the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has a new plan, more than 4 decades in the making. Meet Thor Fifth. Not a very ladylike name, but with more than 150 cutting-edge sensors. It is better equipped, NHTSA says, to measure possible damage in areas including the brain and abdomen. and specifically the legs, where female drivers are at an 80% higher risk for injury than men. NBC News' Julie Sirkin first reported the announcement. She spoke with the NHTSA.
Are car companies required to use this new dummy, or what does that timeline look like?
It's not a legal requirement, but we expect, just based on how the automakers generally react, they will buy this and they'll start using it.
Federal crash data shows overall road fatalities declining in recent years. But despite that, NHTSA estimates more than 39,000 people lost their lives last year in collisions on the nation's roadways. Maria Weston-Kuhn has been working toward this moment ever since she and her mother were in a head-on car crash 6 years ago.
The injuries that we suffered were not unique. In fact, they're among the most common for women to suffer in car crashes.
She started a nonprofit dedicated to car safety for women, something she believed had been all but ignored.
Women make up the majority of licensed drivers. Why are we testing any cars for safety if we're not testing them for the people who drive them the most?
NHTSA says Thor 5th will now be a critical tool for improving safety.
This gives automakers the tools to understand how crash forces will affect women and to design around those to better protect women.
There are those, including the woman we spoke to for this story, who would like NHTSA to go a step further and require automakers to use this new crash test dummy. But even without that requirement, they acknowledge this is an important step. And if automakers start using it, they start collecting data that actually could translate into new requirements that are legalized, right?
I feel like those stats would motivate car makers to want to use these dummies to make a difference.
They're jaw-dropping.
They really
That's 73% statistic.
You'd hope.
Really.
Car companies hear this, they're like, great, bring it in. Bring in Thor.
I think they probably will.
We'll work on that next.
Yeah.
All right, Steph, thank you so much. In Gaza, the death toll is rising from Israel's latest round of strikes, raising concerns about the ceasefire with Hamas.
International correspondent Claudio Lavanga joins us now from Rome to take us around the world in 60 seconds. Hey, Claudio, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. That's right. Authorities in Gaza say that at least 5 people were killed after an Israeli strike in Khan Yunis in the south of the enclave. The escalation came after Israel said its soldiers came under fire in that part of Gaza, an allegation denied by Hamas. Palestinian officials say another 17 people were killed overnight on Wednesday in Khan Yunis, and 16 others were killed by strikes on Gaza City, making this the deadliest wave of strikes by Israel since the ceasefire took effect in early October. Let's go to Brazil now, where officials say 13 people were treated for smoke inhalation after a fire spread through pavilions at the UN climate talks in the city of Belém. A local governor told Brazilian media the fire was caused by a generator failure or a short circuit in a booth, which quickly spread to neighboring pavilions. Fire officials ordered the evacuation of the entire site of the conference, which remained closed for about 7 hours. And let's go to Bangkok, where Fatima Bosch Fernandez of Mexico was crowned Miss Universe 2025. The 25-year-old made news recently for standing up against public bullying from one of the hosts who, during a live streaming ceremony, told off Bosch in front of all contestants for not taking part in local promotional activities. Bosch walked out of the room in protest, followed by several other contestants. Her reaction sparked a wave of solidarity, including from Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum, who called it an example of how women should raise their voices. Guys?
What a happy ending to that story there, Claudio. Thank you.
Love to see that.
Coming up, it is a buzzing new trend in the weight loss world that is touting a familiar name.
After the break, we're going to explain why a growing number of patients are actually microdosing popular injectable weight loss drugs. It's taken a smaller amount to shed the pounds, and the obesity expert who's now sounding the alarm over it all. That's next. We're back now with a closer look at what's making news in the world of politics this morning, starting with another Democrat throwing his hat into the ring ahead of California's governor's race.
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Sedona joins us with that and other Washington headlines. Mel, good morning.
Good morning, guys. We begin with that development in the California's governor's race. Democrat Eric Swalwell, one of President Trump's top antagonists in Congress, is officially launching a bid for governor in the Golden State. Swalwell announced his plans on Jimmy Kimmel's show last night, joining a crowded race to replace current Governor Gavin Newsom, who is term limited. Swalwell was an impeachment manager during Trump's second impeachment trial and unsuccessfully ran for president in 2020. The announcement comes a week after the Trump administration referred Swalwell for a federal criminal probe over alleged mortgage fraud. Swalwell called the move politically motivated. Next, another California Democrat in the spotlight. A federal jury is investigating the handling of the Adam Schiff criminal probe. Like Swalwell, Senator Schiff was a former Trump impeachment manager and is now under investigation by the Trump administration for alleged mortgage fraud, which Schiff has denied. But the investigation is now facing scrutiny. A subpoena reviewed by NBC News has requested information from a witness about her communications with 2 Trump officials involved in the Adam Schiff probe, as well as anyone claiming to be working on their behalf. It's unclear if the grand jury probe is specifically investigating the 2 Trump officials named in the subpoena or other individuals. The Justice Department declined to comment. And finally, Border Patrol is preparing to leave Charlotte and mobilize in New Orleans. Border Patrol has been conducting immigration enforcement actions in Charlotte, where more than 250 people were arrested this week. After Thanksgiving, Customs and Border Protection will wind down its operations in Charlotte and begin a new operation targeting Louisiana. In the coming weeks, their goal is to arrest 5,000 people who are in the country illegally, in a move the agency has dubbed Swamp Sweep, according to the Associated Press. Just the latest in a string of high-profile immigration raids targeting specific cities all around the country. And that's what's making news and politics this morning, guys.
All right. Thank you, Mel.
All right, well, now in health news, we're looking at a new trend involving those popular GLP-1 weight loss drugs. It's called microdosing. That is when someone takes smaller doses of a drug than the standard or recommended amount. Well, the practice is now stirring up macro arguments among users, telehealth companies, and obesity experts. So if you're wondering whether it's safe and effective, here's NBC News correspondent Ann Thompson to help explain.
Hey there, one obesity expert calls microdosing uncharted territory, a way of taking GLP-1s by people seeking fewer side effects and less dramatic weight loss. A term once used for psychedelics, now the buzzword in weight loss, with testimonials from the famous.
I was microdosing a GLP, whatever it's called.
I didn't think that. Microdose GLP-1s. And those hoping to be.
Let's talk about microdosing.
It's the future of these meds.
Jen Rossum says weight has always been an issue for her, even though she loves to ski and bike. But 20 stubborn extra pounds frustrated this 53-year-old.
I ski, I cycle, I probably go to the gym 4 or 5 days a week.
And nothing?
Nothing. Nothing was budging.
So what did you do?
That's when I found out about the microdosing, and I thought, you know what, why not try it?
Obesity doctor Caroline Apovian is familiar with the query. How often does somebody come in and ask you about microdosing?
Very often. They ask me all the time.
Microdosing means using the drug in smaller amounts than the standard FDA-approved doses. It costs less than brand name drugs, and some say it causes fewer side effects. Is there any evidence those drugs are effective at that small amount?
There is no evidence that these drugs are effective at that small amount. There are no studies showing what it does.
That hasn't stopped the demand. Telehealth company Noom says tens of thousands of people have signed up for its program, which debuted in August. You meet with a doctor virtually to get the prescription. Dr. Jeffrey Egler is the chief medical officer.
Microdosing is quickly gaining ground there.
Do you see it actually overtaking traditional GLP-1 medicine?
I don't necessarily think it's going to overtake, but I think it's going to be dependent as we start to explore who can utilize these medications.
That exploration is what worries some obesity experts.
GLP-1s work because they make you feel full with less food. When you stop these low doses of these drugs, we don't know what's going to happen.
Is it kind of the wild, wild west?
This is the wild, wild west of weight loss.
Is it appropriate for somebody who wants to lose 15 pounds to fit into a dress?
So I've gotten criticism about this. I think that whatever motivates somebody to change their life is worth pursuing, whether it's a wedding or a beach body. When people are successful, they have better health, and when they have better health, they have better habits.
Jen Rossum is microdosing using the Noom app with her doctor's approval, and she's lost 13 pounds so far. Have you changed your eating habits?
I have. I've been trying to eat more protein, less sugar, that kind of thing. I'm not just eating something for the sake of eating it. I want to eat something that I enjoy. So if it doesn't taste right or doesn't feel right, I'm less apt to have it.
Are we getting America hooked on drugs as opposed to teaching them how to lose weight just by eating less and exercising more?
I think that is a fundamental and essential question. The idea that GLP-1s are preventing people from learning lifestyle behaviors, that's an idea that I object to. Now, if you're just prescribing a GLP-1, I think that could be potentially problematic. But we are not prescribing GLP-1s. We are prescribing a program that has, as a part of that, a GLP-1 medication.
Dr. Apovian has a different take.
I believe there's a price to pay for microdosing.
And that is?
And that is when you stop the microdosing, you will gain the weight back.
The risk of regaining the weight back exists even if you're not microdosing. Dr. Apovian says the only tried and true method for losing weight and keeping it off is changing how and what you eat and, of course, upping your exercise. Back to you.
All right, Ann, thank you.
Some more health news. This morning, there's growing pushback against the Trump administration after the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reversed its stance on vaccines and autism.
On Wednesday, the CDC changed the messaging on its website to suggest, without evidence, that there is a link between the shots and autism. The Autism Science Foundation responded in a statement that the group is appalled by the change in messaging.
Let's bring in NBC News medical reporter Erica Edwards to help break this down. Erica, good morning. So, this new language is stunning. It says, quote, the claim vaccines do not cause autism is not an evidence-based claim because studies have not ruled out the possibility that infant vaccines cause autism. The mainstream medical community certainly disagrees with this new language. What is some of the reaction you're hearing?
Immediate pushback, Joe, from a wide variety of groups: pediatricians, vaccine experts, insiders within the CDC, infectious disease doctors, even people who are in charge of autism awareness and advocacy groups. The president of the Autism Science Foundation, for example, said that, this question has been asked and answered, saying that, it's the same reason we no longer study whether the earth is flat or round. Enough is enough, she said. Joe, Savannah.
Erica, you mentioned in your article that some scientists and doctors have accused the CDC of misrepresenting data, even cherry-picking studies that raise doubt about this link here. What's the reality? What does the evidence show?
The evidence shows no causal link between vaccines and autism. Now, it's true that some kids who have been vaccinated were later on diagnosed with autism, but it goes back to, scientists use this classic analogy. Just because ice cream eating and drownings both increase in the summer doesn't mean that one causes the other. Savannah?
This reversal, just follows a trend of vaccine skepticism under the health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who is a well-known vaccine skeptic and anti-vaccine activist. So looking forward, what are some of the concerns the medical community has around how this could impact just the way Americans see vaccines?
Yeah, well, first of all, let's be clear. The majority of parents still do vaccinate their children. However, we did an investigation earlier this year looking at single county and jurisdiction across the country, and we found that vaccination rates are indeed backsliding in a majority of those counties. And, the context here is that we're in the middle of seeing some vaccine preventable diseases rise. Measles, for example, also whooping cough. Joe, Savannah.
All right, Erica, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Coming up, it is a growing generational split that is stacking up the reported success of many baby boomers with younger Americans.
After the break, why experts say the wealth divide between the two groups, it's only getting wider, now leading some to question whether millennials and Gen Z will ever catch up. That's next on Morning News Now. We're back with the widening wealth gap between baby boomers and younger generations.
New research shows that boomers hold more than $85 trillion in assets. That makes them the richest generation by far. It all comes down to time and timing. Experts say younger generations will likely never be able to catch up.
We have Washington Post business reporter Shannon Najmabadi joining us now with more on this. Shannon, good morning. Thanks very much for joining us. So I know you spoke with several economists for this recent reporting you did here. What did they say helped so many baby boomers build that wealth that they have today?
Well, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Like you said, we looked into some research about the generational wealth gap, so to speak. And when you mentioned time and timing, I think the important thing to consider here is that there are two big buckets of factors that might have influenced these older generations compared to their younger counterparts. The first is the general economic conditions they faced. The second is asset appreciation, which does have to do with time, of course. On the former, you have a lot of baby boomers entering the labor force during periods of relatively strong economic growth, higher real wages, again, relatively speaking, and being in their prime earning and savings years during longer bull markets, namely in the 80s and 90s. By contrast, if you look at younger generations, it's a bit of a different picture. Many went through the Great Recession earlier in their careers, some less favorable tax policies, and overall higher education, childcare, and educational costs. So more debt overall. In fact, if you look at the average 30-year-old boomer versus the average 30-year-old millennial, I think you'll see that the millennial carries about twice as much debt.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, because the thing that stands out to me when I think about this is the thing experts point to, which is just homes. Like, boomers' wealth comes from homes. Obviously, home prices, mortgage rates are significantly higher now than they were a few decades ago. Back when I was younger, a middle class or even lower middle class family could own their home pretty comfortably. Talk more about that.
Yeah, this comes to the asset piece of it. I think one thing to consider is that boomers overall bought their homes younger, so they had less time to build up that home equity. Also, the median home price has gone up. I have the number right here. It was about $411,000 in Q2 of this year. By contrast, in 1976, which would have been the year the oldest boomers were 30 years old, the median home price was $242,000, adjusted for inflation, so $43,000 at the time. That's according to Fed dollars. And while that appreciation does make a big difference and helps people that are already homeowners, it can make it harder for people that are not in the market to buy into it. Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, the attitude around this, how has that changed when it comes to home buying? Because I think, it was such a goal for parents, and as people now, younger Gen Z, I'm not sure that they feel the same way or even feel it's attainable. What do they feel about it?
This is obviously a little bit more subjective. I think on one hand, you have people that say younger generations would love to buy a home. They can't afford it, maybe because they're carrying more debt or because of the higher home prices we just alluded to. However, I did talk to one professor emeritus who brought up some of the very common points around this, which is that maybe it's preference. Maybe people want to rent longer. They don't want to take on the responsibility of home repairs. They might have a different attitudes around a starter home. Maybe they're waiting for the perfect home, one that's close to their work, has the different kinds of features they want, rather than seeing it as a foot in the door, a starter home that's not going to be perfect. That's just a way to kind of get to the next step.
All right, Shannon Najmabadi, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Great combo.
Let's get to some of the latest headlines from Wall Street. Salesforce looking into a recent data breach.
NBC's Emily Lorsch is back with us with that for our Money Minute. Hey, Emily.
Hey, Joe and Savannah. This Friday morning, a cybersecurity scare is unfolding, and it may involve data from hundreds of companies. Gainsight says it's investigating a, quote, Salesforce connection issue after the hacking group Shiny Hunters claimed it got access to data that's tied to close to 1,000 organizations. It mirrors an August breach at SalesLoft, where hackers stole sensitive data from major companies, including Google and Cloudflare. Shiny Hunters told a cybersecurity news website that if Salesforce doesn't negotiate with them, they'll release the data. And Salesforce says it has notified known affected customers and will continue to provide updates. And a big change is coming to how people use ChatGPT. OpenAI is rolling out group chats, letting friends, families, and coworkers collaborate with each other in a shared conversation. This move turns ChatGPT from a one-on-one tool into a space where people can plan trips, co-write documents, settle debates, and work through research together. It's part of a broader push to make ChatGPT more of a social and collaborative platform. Finally, a survivor of a California wildfire is getting a second life, but it is not a person. A vintage blue 1977 Volkswagen microbus that went viral after it emerged largely intact after the devastating Palisades fire has been fully restored. The car company reached out after seeing an AP photo of the bus in January and spent months repairing smoke damage, blistered paint, rust, and a shattered window. The owners, who had last seen the bus 2 days before the fire broke broke out say they thought it was a goner, but now they're excited to take it on their next surfing adventure. And the bus made its big debut at the LA Auto Show. So lots of people got to see this bus's full transformation.
That's awesome. Great update there. Emily, thank you.
Looking sharp there. All right. The legendary Dolly Parton is going to turn 80 in January, but lately the country music star has been facing some health challenges. She was recently forced to cancel a series of fall concerts, and just this week she did not attend 2 awards ceremonies. But the icon did release a couple videos giving us an update, saying while she might be slowing down for a moment, she'll be up and running again soon.
The legendary Dolly Parton is open about her health after missing 2 award shows honoring her this week.
But you probably heard that I've been dealing with a few health challenges this fall, and my doctors told me to take it easy for just a little while.
The Dollywood founder was unable to attend in person when she was inducted into the International Association of Amusement Parks Hall of Fame. Her namesake theme park has been pulling in visitors for 40 years now.
When we opened the park in 1986, oh, Lord, I was so nervous. Saw all those cars lined up. And would you believe it? They're still lining up today.
A day before, Parton was also not present when she was awarded an honorary Oscar for humanitarian work, sending a pre-taped message instead.
To receive this? I mean, that's a blessing of a lifetime.
Her good friend, 9 to 5 co-star Lily Tomlin, introduced her.
She is one of the few people who remains in this world that everyone loves and respects.
And now those fans are rallying around Parton, hoping she's on the road to recovery after a difficult year for the iconic entertainer. Her husband of 58 years, Carl Dean, passed away in the spring. Then in September, Dolly postponed a series of Las Vegas concerts, her sister Frida later sparking concern by asking fans to pray for her. In October, the star clarified her status, posting, "I ain't dead yet," to Instagram.
Do I look sick to you? I'm working hard here.
She looks good. Dolly says she doesn't take all these awards lightly, especially that honorary Oscar. In fact, she says it makes her want to dream up even more ways to lift people up. We wish her the best. We should also note, everyone is inducting her into a Hall of Fame right now. Even the healthiest person would have trouble making it to all those ceremonies. So
fair.
No one can blame Dolly.
Fair. Love that.
God,
she looks amazing. It's crazy. Coming up, Wicked fans, your time has come.
The highly anticipated sequel finally hits theaters today. The reviews are in, what the critics are saying, and a rundown of everything else you simply can't miss this weekend. Next on Morning News Now. It is Friday, which means it's time for your weekly Can't Miss list.
And we've got to look at all the movies and shows that you got to see.
All right, and joining us this week, entertainment correspondent and host of the Husbanter podcast, David Correa. Good to have you with us here. So, no surprise what we're starting with. We are going to start with Wicked. I am wearing my pink and green today because I am a company man. Obviously, it's the second part of the adaptation of the Broadway musical, which is an adaptation of a book. Reviews aren't maybe as strong as the first movie, but I still think people are enjoying it. What should we know?
I loved it, so ignore all the reviews.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
You've seen it.
I've seen it. I saw it on Monday, and we were talking about it. It's a little over 2 hours, maybe almost 3, and I was like, give me more. It was much deeper, very different from part 1. Anyone who's not familiar with the full musical.
It's a little darker.
Much darker. Music in part 1 is lighter, more fun, more recognizable. Part 2, they added some new music. There's 2 new songs. The soundtrack also dropped today. But I will definitely recommend it all the time. I saw it already. I already have plans to see it on Black Friday, too. So.
There you go.
I know. I'm seeing it over Thanksgiving weekend with the family, just like I did last year, which is a fun little tradition for these 2 years. Okay, another new one, Rental Family. What's this about?
This one is Brendan Fraser. It comes out today in theaters. It is a phenomenon in Japan where folks hire actors to be their rental family, be it someone to attend a wedding with them or a stand-in parent at a parent-teacher conference. And it is a really poignant story about how Brendan ends up melding into this family. He plays a struggling American actor in Tokyo. It is Brendan Fraser at his best. We love him, and his fan base loves him. So if you love him, definitely check this
And
one
he just
out.
won an Oscar, so that says something. All right, we only have 2 minutes. We want to get through a bunch of stuff here, so let's try and whip through here. We've got Eternity with Elizabeth Olsen. What should we know?
Oh, love Elizabeth Olsen. It is a movie where folks have to decide in the afterlife where they're going to spend it. And she meets her husband, who she spent most of her life with, and her first love. It is funny. It is poignant.
Who died. And so she
they're
didn't-
all
right.
in the afterlife in like a TWA-style airport terminal with Divine Joy Randolph as one of the folks that gets you through the afterlife. 100% check this out.
All right, so if you're staying in some streaming options, let's start with the documentary High Horse.
This one is poignant. It is the history of the black cowboy, which I learned so much watching this. It's a 3-part documentary on Peacock. It is out now. I didn't know that that was a racial slur. Cowmen, cowhands were for the white counterparts, and cowboys were to reference and to belittle the black man who was doing the same job. It is Jordan Peele. It is entertaining, but it is also very historically poignant.
Definitely putting that high on the list there. All right, speaking of Peacock, Bel-Air starts its final streaming season. Of course, this sort of new take on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. What should we know?
Yeah, 4th season. I watched the whole thing. It is so good. It wraps everything up. If you have not tuned into this, it's the telling of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but much more dramatic, much grittier. Definitely tune in. It got 8 million accounts hit 8 million accounts in the first season, and you get everyone in this one.
All right, we've got an incredible, also new music video. It's called One Shot with Ed Sheeran. It's 1 hour. It's a single take music video. He plays a bunch of his popular songs. He was actually just on the Today Show. Let's hear what he said.
I got approached to do a concert special, and the idea was just do it in a theatre, and I was like, seems boring. It seems like it's been done before. I just watched Adolescence on Netflix, which was each episode was one continuous shot, and it's amazing how they do it. It's connecting to drones, putting in cars, everything like that.
Okay, great.
Great and fun, and from the director who did Adolescence, the same one-shot film.
Right.
And
Very cool. God,
hits
we
the
all
streets
love
of New
that
York.
show.
Definitely watch it.
One Shot stressed me out. All right, Tommy, thank you so much.
Sure.
I think it's going to get screwed up. It's not.
Yeah.
All right, that does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.